because nobody took the time to explain to them the self-employment tax, how it worked, how much potentially going to owe, and they weren't saving for it. I recommend as much as possible, if they don't do anything else that Profit First teaches, open up one bank account that is separate, that has labeled taxes on it, put money in it, and don't touch it.
Welcome to the Profit Answer Man podcast, where business owners learn to scale their profits and cash flow and work less doing it. You built your business to fulfill your dreams and serve your mission. You're the backbone of America, creating the jobs and opportunities that keep our economy moving. And for that, you deserve to be well rewarded. We're Profit First certified. It's the first baby step in a journey we take our clients on, building cash-rich, margin-strong businesses that don't suck the life out of you. Check out the first 13 episodes of the podcast. It's Mike Michalowicz and my review of each chapter of the Profit First book. Around here, we speak cash flow, profit, and practical execution. No accounting jargon, no fluff. Most accountants, they might help you save on taxes, but they'll crush your cash flow and make you look unprofitable. That's not just a poor decision, it's a liability. We help you focus on what you love. And when we partner together, we become a profit center for your business. If we don't deliver a massive ROI on your investment in us, fire us. Want to see how it all works? Watch the video version on YouTube or head over to ProfitComesFirst.com to grab your free copy of the Profit Blueprint book and start making profit a habit. You built this business to serve your mission and your freedom. Let's make sure it pays you back big. Ever feel like you're doing everything right and sales still feels like a grind? Our guest, Tracy Beavers, knows that feeling because she's lived it. She's got over 20 years of experience in sales and marketing across multiple industries. Now she owns 3 businesses. She helps small business owners untangle what's not working and turn sales from something they dread into something they love. She's going to share why most entrepreneurs don't have a leads problem. They have a follow-up problem, and the simple human strategies that transform conversations into clients. If you've been ghosted, stuck, or frustrated by your process, this episode will change the way you sell and maybe even how you feel about it. Let's meet Tracy and see how she does it. Welcome to the Profit Answer Man, Tracy Beavers. It's great to have you join us today.
Thanks so much, Rocky. I'm excited to be here.
And I'm excited to learn from you. Can you share a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yes, I'd be happy to. My story is similar to probably some of your listeners, but maybe also a little different. So it's always fun to share. My background is being a corporate dropout, which I never thought I would be. About 7 years ago, I just got completely fed up with the corporate culture. Backstory on that is I had an over 20-year award-winning sales career, marketing, business development, sales. And I really enjoyed it. And if you'd told me that I was going to quit corporate and go work for myself, I would have told you were crazy. But I really became disenchanted with the fact that, working for people that want to change the commission structure around to suit the company is a little frustrating as a salesperson. So I decided to take my gifts and talents and build my online business as a business and sales coach. But I couldn't just quit my job cold turkey because we were a dual income household. Our kids at the time were middle school and high school. So there was cars and prom and college and all that stuff. Plus our retirement, I didn't want to derail that. So I started building alongside my full-time job and the 2 busy kids, which was a juggle. And I did that for about a year and a half. And then I was able to fully exit and I haven't looked back.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of us corporate dropouts out there.
Yeah, there sure are.
I never loved it though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to get a paycheck that's guaranteed, but
right.
They do tremendously limit you. And also having a sales background. And this is funny because I notice a lot of small business owners don't realize this. Every year, the commission plans and the goals changed. And how they pay you changed every year. I think too often small business owners think they have to come up with a plan and they keep it forever. Big companies change their plan every single year. They change the territory, they change the rules, and then you get into the politics of it all.
Yeah. Ugh.
And then as you get older, one day they're like, "Oh, we decided to cut." And so
Yeah.
bye.
Right.
And you could be one of the better salespeople or towards the top, and it doesn't matter. They just do things arbitrarily. So
yeah. Yeah. There's not a lot of loyalty. There used to be because, I was raised in the generation where you graduate high school, you graduate college, you get the job, and you stay there for 40 years, and then you get a gold watch, a cake, and a pension. That's how old I am. And I thought that was the road that we were going on. But then in like 2005, 2006, or right before that, companies started saying downsize, right size, severance packages. And I was like, what are they talking about? So yeah, it's crazy.
We're similar age. And I will tell you, I started noticing that in the 90s.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's depended on where you were.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've danced that dance so many times that the last time I saw it, I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
I am out of here. Yes.
Out of here. So that is just life. Now, you also use profit first in your business.
I do.
So how has that helped you? And I know you recommend it to others as well.
I do. I recommend it to my clients and students. And I believe it was one of my past coaches. She and I were talking about paying yourself and how important it is to do that. And I think I probably made some comment like, okay, how do you do that when you're bootstrapping your business and you're trying to pour all the money back in? And she told me about profit first. And she's like, even if it's just, 1% of what you made, take a percentage, put it away for taxes. Obviously, that's the first thing you do. She's like, but if it's 1%, if it's 5% of of the income you brought in, she said that adds up over time and you can go ahead and treat yourself. And I thought, that's interesting. So I bought the book and I read it and it made a lot of sense. And the thing that I really liked about it the most was the different bank accounts, specifically the tax one, because I don't know about you, Rocky, but one of the things that breaks my heart is when a client hires me and I come to find out that they have a massive tax bill they were not expecting. And it's because they didn't know, because nobody took the time to explain to them the self-employment tax, how it worked, how much potentially going to owe, and they weren't saving for it. And so I recommend as much as possible, if they don't do anything else that Profit First teaches, open up one bank account that is separate, that has labeled taxes on it, put money in it, and don't touch it. So anyway, I love it because I can see how much I've got in operating expenses. I can see how much I've got in owner's compensation and profit. And that gives me some freedom to not feel guilty about doing some fun things for our family, like taking the family to Europe and, taking myself to Paris to see some family and, all that stuff. But I was able to do that because I was able to save incrementally over time.
I understand the concept of reinvesting in the business, but I also struggle with it. And I struggle with it because I'm an investor in a whole bunch of other areas, real estate, markets, and so forth. And if I'm going to make an investment, I want a return.
Yeah.
And I find most people who invest in their business are actually spending money. They're not investing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What I love about Profit First is it forces you to say, I'm taking money out of my pay or out of my home pocket, and I'm putting it back in the business, even though you shouldn't, without a program to get paid back. And so it gives you that clarity. The one that I found most surprising was the tax account. And the reason the tax account was so surprising was I hate paying taxes.
I don't know anybody that likes it.
Everybody hates paying tax. Yeah, but they love the tax account. And I do too, because it's like, oh, crap, that's a massive tax bill. Well, how much tax money? Oh, I got more tax money than the tax bill. Pay the tax bill. And it's that piece of knowing you can stroke the check and not fuss over it. And it's not affecting how much money I have. And it's like that money set aside. And over time, our tax account has grown in excess. So we just swipe some extra out of there. And
we have too. I've moved. I had so much excess saved from taxes. At one point, we just moved it over to one of our investment accounts. I was like, I need to get this out of here. It's sitting here in this account, not doing anything. So, let's move it out. But it is that peace of mind. Absolutely. And I'm somebody that financially needs peace of mind when it comes to money. That's one of the reasons why I couldn't just cold turkey leave corporate. I'm not that girl. I was making well over 6 figures a year. And I knew that if I was not making any money and not getting a paycheck for a while, which is what it takes to build a business, that I was going to be so stressed out, I would not have been successful. So that safety net of the taxes is really comforting.
So there's two things there. One, it does take time to build a business.
Yes.
And two, when you're emotionally struggling with money, your sales are going to plummet because everybody can smell it.
we called it commission breath.
Yeah. And so
desperation.
But as a business owner, that means you shouldn't be in desperation either, because a lot of business owners are, and that creates an issue.
It does.
Especially if you start discounting. Because if you start discounting and you discount below what you should, you're actually creating, yes, you're making cash if they pay you when they book the sale, but you're actually losing money on the sale. And so you have to be very careful with that.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure.
Cool. So let's talk about sales.
Yeah.
Do people struggle with that? Or are they good with sales? We're both salespeople, so it's easy for us.
It is. Okay, so here's what's funny. When that final straw happened with corporate and the CEO was monkeying around with the commission structure, and I realized there was no way I could continue on. I was in a women's mastermind at the time, and it wasn't business related. It was more personal development related. We were all in there for different reasons. And the gals in my small group knew me really well. They knew my track record. They knew my strengths. And I was telling them, I said, I can't do this job anymore, but I don't know what else I'm going to do, because my dad was an entrepreneur and he made it look like a grind. He made it look miserable. And so I was like, I don't know if I want to go work for myself or not. And so they helped me see, they go, well, you're really good in sales. And I'm like, yeah, but isn't everybody? And they were like, no. And that was the first time that I realized that sales wasn't easy for everybody. I just thought it was because it was easy for me. And they were like, no, Tracy, sales scares everybody to death, kind of like public speaking. And I'm like, really? And so I realized, though, and you probably had this happen to you, Rocky, I realized looking at when they said that, I kind of went back in time and I thought, people have always been coming to me asking me, how are you gaining so much market share? How are you growing this portfolio so fast? How are you so successful? How does this seem easy for you? And then the light bulb went off and I was like, I could teach other people how to do this. So yeah, sales is difficult in large part because we've all had a really bad sales experience. I hate to throw the used car salespeople under the bus, but it's the best analogy, that and the snake oil guy, because everybody knows what that feels like. Having somebody that has an agenda, does not have your best interest in mind, and really just has commission breath and wants to sell you something, that does not feel good. And so I think my clients and students anyway are in large part women, and they don't want to come across as salesy. I hear that a lot. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be overly assertive. I don't want to be pushy. And I'm like, I don't either. I totally get it. And I always ask them, are you a pushy person? And they're like, no. And I said, then you don't have anything to worry about, because you're not going to come across that way if you're not that way to begin with, right? And so what I have to help them understand is sales is all about the whole key to it. And what made me successful was taking the sale, the transaction out of the equation, out of my brain, and focusing on the other person in front of me, making a connection, getting to know them. What do they need? Do I have what they need? If so, I'm going to say, hey, you're looking for this. I got a pile of it in my car. Can I sell you some of it? Obviously, I'm going to, offer what I have. But if what they need is not what I've got, I can still fulfill a need for them by maybe making a referral or, supporting them in some way. And they will remember me for that. And so my approach to sales is all about building relationships, making that common ground connection. How can I help this other person? And keeping their needs and what they're looking for ahead of my own.
And that's what sales is supposed to be. It's funny because in sales, they always tell you have to ask for the sale.
Yeah.
And they make it like it's the hardest part. I've always said, if you do a really good job in sales, you never have to ask for the sale. Because people are going to be like, oh, how do I sign up for that?
Mm-hmm.
Or how do I pay? And you don't have to ask for the close, but
Yeah.
the way you do that is by understanding their problem
Mm-hmm.
and showing them a solution that actually solves it. And
Yes.
that goes back to the used car salesman. They're not showing the solution. They're trying to
Mm-hmm.
push whatever on you. But when you do that appropriately, it's actually not hard.
Mm-mm. I don't think so either. But, people get hung up in their minds about it. So we have to help shift that mindset.
So here's one of the things I find for a lot of small business owners, they don't have a good, let's call it a sales process in place. What I
Mm-hmm.
mean is, how do you get leads?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And then how do you follow up and nurture on them? How do you get people who can continue to refer you?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you go? So let's take somebody, in the trades. Are they networking? Who should they be networking with? What are
Mm-hmm.
those different types of things? And then the second part of it, and I don't know if we'll get to this, the business owner is usually a good salesperson. Hopefully they are. Otherwise, they don't really have a business.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to transfer that to somebody else
Yeah.
is not always easy. They just assume somebody will, or they're not a good salesperson. So they hire a salesperson and say, go out and sell this.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't tell them why somebody would buy it or
Yeah.
who the ideal customer and so forth is.
Right.
So pick one of those, and where should we start? Maybe
You
the
tell me.
networking. Let's start with the networking.
Yeah. Well, networking is important. I mean, that's nothing new. We have to continually fill our pipeline with other people that will help us grow our business in some way. So I, as much as possible, remind my audience that networking isn't just for sales. Networking is for business growth. And that can mean different things. Networking is for making those connections that lead to the conversations that lead to a conversion. And my definition of a conversion is several different things. It's not just a sale. It can be a new client, somebody buying what you're selling, but it could also be, like we're talking about, a referral partner. It could be a new collaboration partner doing what you and I are doing right now, collaborating and growing our audiences. It could be somebody that wants to be an affiliate of yours or wants you to be an affiliate of theirs. And so networking just brings new, fresh people into our world, into our business, so we can get to know them, have those conversations, see where it's going to go and where the conversion is going to land. But the other thing I share is whether you're networking in person or virtually online, there's a follow-up to this that's important. Because if you're just going to go to the Chamber of Commerce meeting and throw around some business cards and get some business cards and then get back in your car and drive home and the business cards sit on your desk, then you should not have left the house. I mean, the networking itself at the chamber lunch or on a Zoom networking session is really just the introduction to that other person. And it's our job to then take it to the next step, which is either, hey, would you like to meet for coffee, or would you like to hop on the phone, or would you like to hop on Zoom and dive a little bit deeper into the conversation to really uncover where can we help each other? Do I have something that would benefit you that you might want to buy? Do you have something that might benefit me that I'm looking for? Or like I talked about, collaboration or referral.
And one of the things we like to do is to measure all of that, because more often than not, business owners are, I need more leads. And yet when we look at their actual systems, if they're good enough to track them, they might only be closing 1 out of 6 or 1 out of 10 leads. And I'm like, you don't need more leads.
Nope.
You need a better sales process.
Yes.
And that's where you should spend your money. And that's why we like to track, hey, what's a lead? Where are they in that cycle? How many convert to clients, so that we can look at the process and judge it. And then the second part is we can also look at the process and judge it by people. So maybe you've got 4 salespeople and things are okay. But then all of a sudden I look at it and I realize, well, wait a minute, we're slightly off target. But then I dig into it and I'm like, well, 3 of my salespeople are hitting their goal, but 1 isn't.
Yeah.
Now I realize I don't need to go talk to 3 salespeople. I need to talk to 1. And if you don't have systems and processes to track that,
Right.
you're demotivating all your salespeople because they're like, we're
Mhm.
selling stuff. Why are you bugging us?
Yes, exactly. Don't talk to me if I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you find with regards to all of that? Do you find people are great at this, or is this a struggle, or
About networking and following up?
networking, following up, and tracking?
Yeah, the tracking is boring. Nobody wants to do it. It's numbers. It's meh. They just want to have the conversations. I don't blame them. I don't want to track my numbers either. But just like you're saying, people generally, most of the time, they don't have a leads problem. They have plenty of leads. They have a follow-up problem, and they have a connections a problem. And if they just were tracking their leads and knowing where they are in the pipeline, then they would know who's ready for what and moving them to the next stage all the time. So, I agree with you on the tracking part, but it's a boring piece of the business. It's like accounting. It's like the profit and loss statement. Wah, wah. Nobody wants to reconcile that at the end of the month, but we have to do it. So I think that's the problem with the tracking is it's not fun. It's not sexy, but it needs to be done. And then, we have to be serious CEOs and hold our nose and do it anyway. As my husband likes to say, hold your nose, get it done. And then the networking piece, again, the problem that I see is people are really excited and jazzed up to network and to meet other people, but then they don't know what to do after that. And again, it comes back to being a warm, kind human being, making a connection with another warm, kind human being, and coming from a place of service and true connection on, okay, let's get together and see how we could support each other. Let's have a coffee chat. Let's have a virtual coffee chat and figure out where we can help each other grow. But people, at least my audience, they have trouble asking for that. Similar to they have trouble asking for the sale, they also have trouble asking for somebody to meet with them because they don't want to bother them. But we have to get over that.
It's funny. When I started using an automated calendar,
Mm-hmm.
like the amount of things that got done and booked went through the roof. Because normally what happens, you email somebody and go, hey, let's connect, let me know what works for you.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, I'm busy. I don't have time to look at my calendar. And then the connection dies.
Yeah.
But
Right.
when I send an email and say, hey, let's connect. Do you have a calendar? If not, use mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of a sudden, things just started getting booked because there was no friction in the process.
Exactly.
It made it easy to do. But you mentioned connections. People have trouble with connections, or people have trouble taking the action of making the connection?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's the action. They like to make connections, but it's taking the action to get to the connection, I think, is where they're stubbing their toe. That's what I meant. Yeah.
And then what do you do? Because this is what everyone's talking about. They get ghosted all the time.
Yeah. I did a training on this not too long ago about what's happening when we are ghosted, either in the DMs or in the email or in the text message, or somebody doesn't return your voicemail. 90% of the time, the reason for that has nothing to do with us. And it has everything to do with the other person. The problem is that we make up stories in our head about why they're not returning our call, our text, our DM, our email. We say things like, they think I suck. They don't like me. They think I'm annoying. Oh gosh, they must not have enjoyed the conversation. Wow, this is embarrassing. And we make it all about us. When in reality, if we're going to make up a story, let's make up one that might be true instead of one that's not based on fact. And what might be true, my favorite story to make up about why somebody hasn't returned my text message or my DM or my email is that they were reading the DM on their phone, and then all of a sudden their phone fell in the toilet. And now they're at the cell phone store and they're trying to get a new phone, and they completely forgot about my DM message. Or they got my text message and they were literally had their finger on the thing to send me a reply, and their toddler walked in the room and threw up. And so they set the phone down and they went to take care of the baby. And then 5 days later, they're like, oh, shoot, I forgot to text and now I'm embarrassed and I can't do it now. And so what I want the listeners to hear is if we're going to make up a story, let's make up something that could be the truth and has nothing to do with us. And there's nothing wrong with reaching back out and saying, like, if it's a DM message, I will reach back out and I'll go, hey, did Facebook deliver this message to you? The algorithm is weird. Did you happen to get this? ? Even though I can see that they saw it, right? Because you can see if somebody reads a DM message, but I'm just going to kind of put myself back in front of them. Be like, hey, did you get this? Because 9 times out of 10, they'll go, I am so sorry. I meant to reply and I got busy and I forgot. Didn't have anything to do with me.
You don't send them a message going, hey, did you drop your phone in the toilet?
I could. That'd be funny.
Well, that
Hey,
would
did
be
your
fun.
toddler throw up and that's why you didn't reply back?
You know what? It's that little bit of hilarity that causes people to go, you know what? I'll talk to this person.
Yeah.
Or I'll follow up or so forth. What happens though with the ghosting when it's much further along in the sales process? Like you've made your pitch, they were going to check on something and then all of a sudden they go cold.
Yeah. Oh, that's happened to me. So then in that case, what I'll do is, my follow, this is going to make you laugh. You probably have the same follow-up strategy because you've been in sales. My follow-up strategy is I am going to patiently follow up with you until you either tell me to get the heck off your lawn and never contact you again, or one of us dies. I will continue to follow up with you, especially if we have had an info call and you have said, this is something I'm interested in. I need to go check my business finances or whatever. So I will just patiently follow back up in a few months and be like, hey, Rocky, how's it going? Last time we were together, you said X, Y, Z that you were working on. And I know we talked about the solutions that I can provide through coaching to get you where you want to go by that deadline goal you have. What are your thoughts on, circling back and talking about it again? Don't say circling back. I don't know why that came out of my mouth. I don't like those words. Don't circle back. But you know what I'm saying? Like, would you like to hop on a short Zoom and chat about your business and what's going on now? Because it might have been a few months since we talked. And then if I don't hear from you, I'll wait a few more months. And hopefully at some stage, you'll either say yes, because I want somebody to get to an absolute yes or an absolute no.
Okay. And by the way, I'm assuming most people know this, but I'm going to say it. Mm-hmm. Just like you talked about, you can check when DMs or text messages are read. You can also check and see when emails are read.
Yes.
And it's always interesting when no one responds to you and they've opened your email 9 times.
Yes. Isn't that funny?
And you're like, I guess there's something going on.
Right.
But yet they're not responding. And so
exactly.
That's also helpful to make sure you have a system in place that allows you to track that.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I find, though, it's gotten better, and we pay for Google, but yet my emails get spam filtered by somebody I'm having a conversation with, which drives me up the wall.
That's frustrating.
For a while there, like, I'll use a different email just to go, hey, I've been having trouble with my email, because sometimes my emails just aren't even making it through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super frustrating. And I think the other thing that it also could be true is that the person opened the email 9 times. They wanted to tell you no, but they didn't know how to say it. Mm-hmm. They don't want to come across as a jerk. They don't want to hurt your feelings. They really do like you, and they just don't know what to say. So they're like, okay, I'm going to close this down. I'm going to think about it and I'll come back. And then a couple of days later, they go, okay, I got to tell Rocky something. So open up the email, stare at the screen and go, I don't know what to say. Okay, I'm going to come back to this later. So you know what I mean? It's like sometimes people really they want to say no, but they don't know how. And we can let them off the hook like that. In an email, I could say, hey, Rocky, I know we visited about XYZ and you were thinking this was something you wanted to do. Please reply back and let me know. Would you reply back and let me know if this is something that's still interesting to you or not? And if it's not, totally okay, we can still be friends. I would just like to know either way.
And people like that honesty to be kind of let off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Yeah. Giving them the easy out is okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And that works. So where do you see the biggest struggles with the actual follow-up? Like, how many times do you have to follow up before you get the sale?
That's a good question. When I was in corporate, there was the whole 8 to 12 touches thing before people would actually start to hear you and pay attention to what you were doing. In the online space, it is way more than that. I'm hearing that somebody needs to consume 3 to 6 hours of your content before they're even remotely paying attention. So I don't know the actual statistic anymore. I just know that in the online space, it's really crowded and loud. And our job is to not focus on the result. Our job is to do the actions. be consistent, be patient, and do the follow up. Now, at some stage, I'm going to stop following up with you. I will. I was, kind of being silly when I said, get off my lawn or one of us passes away. But, I'm thinking of a girl right now that I've talked to twice about coaching, and she was very interested both times. And I sent her an email the other day, and I probably will not email her again. I figure she knows where I am. She knows who I am. She follows my stuff. She opens my emails. Here I am, ready to go when she is. But yeah, I think at some stage you have to kind of move on. Don't you?
I do, but there's some companies, because now there's automated systems that will text, email, and do whatever until you say no.
Yeah.
And they just keep going. And that, I think it really depends on the type of business you are, the type of sale you're making, and whether it's going to become a recurring customer, whether it's a product that is a recurring business. Like if you're selling a roof, let's face it, they don't buy the roof from you and they buy it from somebody else. The chances of them being another customer is going to be long time in between.
Yeah.
So you probably could be a little bit more aggressive than if you're selling something that they're always buying and now they're never going to buy from you because you've just ruined the relationship by driving them crazy.
Yeah.
And so it goes back and forth on that.
Yeah. And those companies are not using a human being to do the follow-up. Generally, they're using a bot of some kind. And the bots don't have feelings. They'll just follow up with you.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely bot driven. They're sending emails, texts, phone calls, and it is all automated. And I know that. And so we have our ways of getting out of that. But that's for another story. But you have to be able to, if you don't want to do it, then set it up automated like that, right? And you made that comment. So, okay, here's the truth. And my listeners, they know this. A lot of times it takes them a year before they get up on my calendar. They'll listen to 100 episodes. And then one will finally hit and they're going, okay, I'm tired of not taking action. And then they finally do. And honestly, I prefer that. I'd rather they listen to 100 than they listen to one and call me. Because after 100, they know what they're getting.
Exactly.
And after one, they don't.
Yeah, right. Well, after 100, they've got their credit card out and they're just messaging you going, hey, where do I pay? How do I pay you? Let's do this. That's a lot easier than somebody listening to one episode and then you got more work to do.
But it takes a long time for them to get through 100 episodes. And so people have to have the patience of understanding it takes time to go through your funnel, and everyone's funnel's different. And you have to figure out what it is for your business and how it goes through. Now, do you do a lot of sales role plays?
No.
Okay.
Well, I take that back. If I have a client that has a need, yes. It's not as much of a role play as it is I'm reviewing I'll give you an example. One of my one-to-one clients is a financial coach, and she uses a note taker for every info call she has. And she was having trouble with her conversions. And I said, I want to see the transcript of those calls. And so I could very easily see the mistakes in the process and give her a better framework for moving somebody through the sales call in a shorter period of time. And the other thing I can help with is the verbiage of what to say, how to move that person through the info call to get them to either be a yes, a full yes, or a full no. So I don't do a lot of role play necessarily, but I do help with verbiage.
And you know what? I forgot. When I was in sales, we didn't have all this electronic stuff.
Yeah.
Now you do. So if you're on Zoom, it's really easy to bring a note taker in.
Yeah.
If you're out in the real world, I use a device called Plaud, Plaud. And Plaud attaches to your phone, or you can actually wear it like as a bracelet or a pendant, and it will record your sales calls.
Interesting.
And then whatever method I use to record it, then I take my recording and I put it into AI and I ask AI questions like, hey, how did I do on my sales process? And sometimes it'll be like, oh, you forgot to give the value prop. I'm like, you know what? I did forget. No wonder they didn't sign up because I forgot to deliver that.
Interesting.
Or we'll talk about emotional triggers. Like, did I
Mhm.
connect emotionally? Where are the places, or where can I improve? Because one of the biggest
Mhm.
problems I had as a sales rep is I could never get good feedback. Most
Yeah.
sales managers or most people didn't know how to give good sales feedback. Whereas if you put it in ChatGPT,
Mhm.
it gives good sales feedback if you ask the right questions.
Right.
And you can check verbiage, you can even go into tone.
For
It's a little
sure.
bit harder, but how
Mhm.
you end your sentences, the
Mhm.
depth of the voice, how you do
Mhm.
things, all of those things are triggers that
Mhm.
work for or against you. If you don't understand that, then that might be why you're always losing a particular sale and you
Mhm.
don't realize it, or the hesitations that come up. So we've got a ton more tools than we've ever had.
Yes.
And on top of that, we talked before we hit record about how we forgot things. And this at least reminds me of everything. Oh, what did I say I was going to do for that client after 3
Right.
calls? And, it was
Yes.
this morning. And it can create then my follow-up lists
Mhm.
and do
Yeah.
all of that. So it's helpful
Right.
from that standpoint.
It is very helpful. Yeah.
Anything that we should have talked about, but we didn't get a chance to?
I don't think so. I feel like we covered a lot with regard to sales. We went over the mindset and what's hard for people with regard to sales. And we talked about networking and what's tough for people there and the follow up. And, yeah, I feel like we covered it. What about you?
I think, there's one thing that I always say to my clients: whatever you incentivize for, you will get.
That's
And
a good
so
one.
I say, if you're going to incentivize your salespeople, we prefer to incentivize them on gross profit versus revenue,
Mm-hmm.
because then they don't discount, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're encouraged not to. And two, we tie the payment of the commissions to when the client actually pays us, because we
Mm-hmm.
don't want a bad sale with no margin that they never pay us and they stiff us on or cancel.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
want that person to be into the end of the game where the client
Mm-hmm.
is happy and they've paid us and doing that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of a big thing, is to think through the whole process and then to measure the whole process.
Yeah. Nice.
If people would like to connect with you and learn more about your services, how do they do that?
I would love it if evidently they listen to podcasts and love podcasts. I have one myself. It's called Create Online Business Success. You can find it anywhere you get your podcasts. I also, if they are Facebook users, even if all they want to do is use Facebook for my free Facebook group, I have close to 4,000 online entrepreneurs in there. It is a true community of support where people can promote their offers anytime. They can ask for help and feedback on anything, and they're encouraged to network with each other. It's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur. Get visible, grow your email list and your income. And I'd love for them to come join us.
Awesome. We'll put that all in the show notes. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
joining us today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Sales don't have to feel pushy, awkward, or draining. Tracy showed us that when you focus on the connection instead of closing, selling gets easier and more profitable. Some things to think about as we close. Are you tracking and following up on your leads consistently? Or are you just hoping they'll come back? I can tell you they don't come back. You got to follow up. What stories are you telling yourself when someone ghosts you? And how would your business change if you stop making it personal? I had to go through a lot of these myself, just looking at the value we provided, how much we charged, and not making decisions for other people. I get it. What would it be like if sales actually became a natural part of growing your business? For me, it is. All we do is we have conversations and we provide a ton of value. And then we go, hey, would you like us to help you with that? That's it. People do it, people don't. It's up to them. But I'm cool with it. I hope we gave you some new ways to think, a little bit of permission to sell with confidence. And by the way, if you know another business owner who needs this, would you share it with them? And let's remember, it's not that you need more resources. You need to be more resourceful in your sales activities. Remember, we always focus on the bottom line. Thanks for listening to The Profit Answer Man, where we believe more revenue doesn't mean more profit, and the bottom line is what really matters. If you're ready to stop living, check to check, take control of your cash flow, and finally get paid what you're worth, we should talk. We work with 7- and 8-figure businesses and well-funded startups. If you're a smaller business, check out the Profit Blueprint program. It's a do-it-yourself solution that also can come with my direct guidance in the same level we give our one-on-one clients. When you're ready for results, book a discovery call. There's a link in the show notes or at profitcomesfirst.com. You'll be speaking and working directly with me. In the meantime, grab your free copy of the Profit Blueprint at profitcomesfirst.com. It's the next step to turning your business into a consistent cash flow generating machine. If you'd like to dig more into leading yourself, your company, and building the ultimate life, listen to my other podcast, Richer Soul, where we cover these topics in great depth. There's a link in the show notes. As we close out, let's repeat the mantra. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. Have an abundant and profitable week.